Hey guys, it's Daniel here. Apologies if I look a little bit messy in the face and the hair. I've just gotten out of bed. Yeah, that's right. I'm filming a video after I just got out of bed. These days. But I'll tell you what I was doing when I woke up, but I didn't completely get out of bed. I spent the last hour watching the series finale to The Boys. Yes, I know I've never talked about The Boys before on this channel, but come think of it, I do think I could do a retrospective video talking about all the seasons, including the spin-off series Gen V, which I watched in preparation for this final season. And before I give away my thoughts on the episode, I'll give my thoughts on the show first. I think it's a good show. I think it's a really good show. It's very fun. It's definitely very vulgar, not made for those people claimed to be snowflakes, but I thought it was a really good show. Butcher and Homelander really stole the show. But this final fifth season has been a little bit disappointing, in my opinion, because of how much it doesn't feel like a final season. It kind of feels like just another season. It's the same problem with Walking Dead and for the first 5 episodes, Stranger Things, where they don't seem to be confident in making it feel like a final season yet. But now that I said that, what do I think of this episode? I think for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job wrapping up the series and wrapping up all the characters. Unfortunately, I do have problems with this episode. The Gen V characters never gonna get a conclusion on. I mean, we never ever get to see them do anything throughout the episode. They just take these people and then drive away, and then we don't see them throughout the rest of the episode. They've only had like 3 scenes this season, and they were all in the last 2 episodes. I thought the biggest thing that we were building up throughout Gen V Season 2 was they were going to be joining the boys, crossing over with them to fight off Homelander. But we just don't get that, and I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand why they built up that big thing, and then they just don't go anywhere. Oh Father, he was cool, but I honestly wasn't understanding why they gave so much attention on him this season instead of the Gen V characters. I thought the Deep was definitely pathetic. Honestly, he's another character that I was like, in the past 2 seasons, why is he still needing the show? He doesn't do anything. Although I can understand that that's kind of the point. That was kind of what they were going for. That was intentional because they wanted to show how pathetic he was. But the two major things I know a lot of people are going to be expecting people to think about and how they think about it is that we do get the death of Butcher and Homelander in this one. Homelander's death, I do think they should have, like, actually had him live, and then he has to suffer without his powers and just be, like, a pathetic nobody, which is a huge spit in the face to his character and how prideful he is. I think that would have been the perfect ending to his character. But the actual death, him itself, I personally loved that he loses his powers after Kimiko got rid of them, and he's like trying to fight Butcher, but he's just so pathetic at this point. And he's like, no, 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 I'm so sorry. We see how much of a coward he is without his powers, and we see Butcher look him straight in the eyes, reminding him of all of the pain that he caused Butcher and the rest of the world, and he just looks at this pathetic weasel straight in the eye and and gives him a brutal stab in the head, and then his brain splatters all over the place. I do think they could have done a different conclusion to Homelander, but what they actually did, I thought was rewarding. It was very good. And then Butcher's death, I do think it is like a bit out of nowhere that they added a second conflict right the hell out of nowhere after they defeated Homelander, with Butcher going to take it down all the soups. I do. It's the same problem I have with Stranger Things finale, with when they killed Vecna and destroyed the monsters in the Upside Down, but then they just add the military at the end. I don't know why they do that, but I think Huey having to be the one to put Butcher down, and Butcher realizing the error of his ways, and you just see Huey holding Butcher in his arms as Butcher dies right in front of him, and you just see Huey breaking down and all that stuff. I thought, yeah, that was pretty emotional, and I did kind of feel bad for Huey because, I mean, you just imagine, like, going back to when they first met in season 1. It was very good. And I think everything else after that point was phenomenal. I love Kumiko going out on her own and not getting and still feeling alone because of losing Frenchie last episode, but still doing her best to move on while being away from the boys. In my opinion, I think that's how Eleven's ending should have been in Stranger Things. Mike should have died, and it forces Eleven to push herself even more to defeat Vecna, and then she goes off on her own, not faking her death, but just going out on her own just for a bit, just to leave. That should have been the conclusion of Eleven's story, not what the hell the Duffer Brothers did. I think Ryan, he's not really that interesting of a character, but, I guess he's just going off on his own now. The dog dying was emotional, I love dogs. And the final moment of Huey and Annie and aka Starlight working together in the Radio Shack, which is where I believe Huey started, and them having a baby who Huey names Robin, which was his late girlfriend, and just seeing the final shot of Huey looking up at his wife, at his girlfriend, in Pride. I thought that was phenomenal. So this was a pretty good episode, but for a series finale, it did have a little bit. It was a bit uneventful, and it wasn't as epic as we could have been. In fact, come think of it, what really frustrated me is that you see the moment where Homelander takes that guy away and he throws him up in the air, and he's an astronaut, he's in space, but they just don't show him in space. I thought one of the biggest promotional materials on the posters was Homelander up in space. And also the fall of the Vought Tower. The promotion was terrible, misleading. But yeah, I do wish that it could have been more of an epic, and the Gen V characters should have been included, and that's where I feel like the writer really dropped the ball. And this final season has been a bit of a season. But I still think it ended up pretty nicely. I thought it concluded pretty nicely, so there you go. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the finale, and sorry if this video is 7 minutes long, I just had a bit to say. Anyway, I'm Daniel reviewing movies, TV shows, and doing videos. What do you think of the finale of The Boys? Bye.